I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay.
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days.
The courtroom fell silent as Diddy's composed facade suddenly cracked. His fists clenched, his jaw tightened, and everyone present could feel the tension escalate when Justin Bieber's name echoed through the room. What you're about to witness is the exact moment when Diddy lost control during day 2 of the trial. Right after learning that Justin Bieber had publicly declared his support for Cassie, the security had to step in. And what happened next shocked even the judge.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully, but yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and
Wow! I feel violated right now. Wow.
Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. Look at what a beautiful...
Bieber turned 15, and it suddenly seemed that Hollywood was keen to almost initiate him. I think that's the right word. Like there was almost like this initiation that he needed to go through. So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie The Times of Their Lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full.
Young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun. Now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did. The allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher. As we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs the question, who allowed Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what he was up to, allegedly?
Started with this weird calm in the courtroom. Diddy walked in surrounded by his expensive legal team acting all confident. But if you looked closely at his eyes, something was just off. He kept scanning the room like he was looking for someone who might jump out at him. Security wasn't normal that morning either. They added extra guards near Diddy's table, not the usual setup for a celebrity trial. One guard stood directly behind his chair, another by the aisle. It's almost like they got a tip that something might go down. Then Cassie walked in and everyone's heads turned. She wore this simple black dress with a white collar. Nothing flashy, but it made a statement. Her friends formed this protective circle around her, walking her to her seat like bodyguards. The contrast was clear. Diddy with paid security, Cassie with loyal friends. The really interesting part: Diddy couldn't stop checking his phone. He kept pulling it out, scrolling with his thumb, then his face would get darker each time. At one point, his lawyer actually had to reach over and take it from him. That's when I noticed Diddy's hand was shaking. Meanwhile, the prosecution team was acting super weird. They kept passing notes and whispering behind folders. One prosecutor would show something on her tablet to another, and they'd both nod like they just got the final piece of a puzzle. They knew something big was coming. Diddy's main lawyer tried calming him down at least 3 times before the judge even arrived. He'd lean over, say something in Diddy's ear, and put his hand on Diddy's shoulder. But Diddy wasn't having it. He shrugged the guy off every time once so hard that the lawyer actually had to steady himself on the table when the judge walked in her. Face told the whole story on day 1. She was all business, but relaxed. Today, she looked like a principal who just got told the troublemaker was planning something bad. Her eyes went straight to Diddy's table, and she whispered something to her clerk that made him nod and pick up his phone. What nobody in that room knew yet was that Diddy had seen something on social media just minutes before court started, something that would make him completely lose it in front of everyone. His team tried to hide his phone, but it was too late. He'd already seen what Justin Bieber posted. The baif called everyone to order, and you could feel the tension building with every word. The jurors must have felt it too, because they kept looking at each other, confused about why everyone seemed on edge. One juror even asked for water, her hand visibly shaking as she took the cup. Diddy sat there, his leg bouncing under the table, a vein in his forehead starting to show. His lawyer kept placing legal papers in front of him, trying to distract him, but Diddy just pushed them away. He stared straight ahead, his breathing getting heavier by the minute. It was like watching someone try to hold back an explosion. The whole room knew something was about to happen. We just didn't know what would set him off or how bad it would be when it did. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder as everyone waited for the inevitable. Diddy's perfect image was about to shatter in front of the entire courtroom.
Yeah. So, yeah. I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, just think about how young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, and like.
It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly. I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life.
Meantime, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, a case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of rape. This guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Busby, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity.
While everyone focused on the drama in court, something huge happened online. Justin Bieber dropped a social media bomb that nobody saw coming right in the middle of trial proceedings. Bieber posted a statement supporting Cassie that sent shock waves through the music industry and into that courtroom. The whole thing hit especially hard because Bieber and Diddy go way back. Remember those videos of teenage Bieber hanging out at Diddy's parties? Diddy used to call himself Justin's mentor. And Big Brother, he even bragged about helping shape Bieber's career. That history made this public statement feel like the ultimate betrayal. This wasn't some vague sending love and support message either. Bieber got specific. He wrote about being Diddy's reaction and outburst at industry parties where he personally witnessed Diddy's behavior toward Cassie. He mentioned seeing Diddy grabbed Cassie's arm too hard at an after-party in 2015. He described Diddy cutting Cassie off mid-sentence. And speaking for her during interviews, these weren't rumors. These were first-hand observations during the first court recess. The posts spread like wildfire. People in the courthouse hallways huddled in groups showing each other their phones. One court officer had to remind everyone to turn their devices off before re-entering. Legal assistants printed screenshots for attorneys to review. Even some jurors looked confused by all the hallway whispers, clearly sensing something major had happened. The post included this powerful old photo that spoke volumes. It showed Bieber and Cassie at some music event from years ago, both smiling, but if you looked at Cassie's eyes, there was something there. Bieber's caption said he'd always respected Cassie's strength and was sorry I didn't speak up sooner. Wait, For Diddy, the timing couldn't have been worse. Bieber's 270 million followers saw that post within minutes. News sites were already running headlines. This wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore. This was a massive star with credibility. Taking a clear side during an active trial court, reporters went crazy. One woman literally ran out of the courtroom to call her editor. Another was frantically typing on her laptop. A reporter from a major network mouthed, "Did you see it?" to his colleague. Across the aisle, everyone knew this changed everything about how the public would view this case. The whispers got so loud that one of the bailiffs had to ask people to quiet down. People kept showing each other their phones like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some looked directly at Diddy, trying to figure out if he knew, yet others watched Cassie, who maintained perfect composure despite surely hearing the commotion. What made Bieber's statement so powerful was the specific language he called Cassie brave and truthful, and wrote that certain behaviors I witnessed years ago troubled me deeply, but I didn't understand the pattern they represented. He even mentioned being disappointed in myself for not recognizing the control dynamics that now seem so obvious. Diddy's attorney saw the post first. He immediately tried damage control, physically blocking Diddy's view of another lawyer's phone, whispering urgently to remove all devices from the table, but someone had already showed Diddy the screen. His eyes locked onto it, widened, and in that moment, everyone close enough saw his face transform. It was already too late.
Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor. Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to his original mentor. So this is a very big story, and the reason why we should discuss this and we should not diminish what is happening, it's not celebrity drama. This is actually the fall of Babylon that we are witnessing, Hollywood Babylon, that is. He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything. Protect Billie Eilish from what?
Diddy saw Bieber's post. His face changed like someone flipped a switch first. Came this look of total shock. His eyes got wide and his mouth actually hung open. Then his eyebrows pulled together as the betrayal hit him. But the scary part was watching that transform into rage. His nostrils flared and his jaw clenched so tight, you could practically hear his teeth grinding. A woman sitting 3 rows back later told reporters that Diddy's hands started shaking uncontrollably. He tried to grab some papers his lawyer handed him, but he couldn't even hold them steady. They slipped right through his fingers and scattered on the floor. That's when everyone started staring. The first real warning sign came when Diddy suddenly stood up. It wasn't a normal, "I need to stretch stand-up." It was abrupt and aggressive. The bailiff, who'd been watching him closely all morning, immediately took a step forward. You could tell this wasn't the bailiff's first rodeo with someone about to lose it in court. Then Diddy said something that people in the front rows could hear clearly after. "Everything I did for that kid loyalty means nothing anymore." Then something about consequences that made his lawyer physically grab his arm and yank him back into his seat. The lawyer whispered something urgent in his ear, but Diddy just shook his head. His breathing got heavy and labored like he'd just run upstairs. Court sketches from that moment are honestly disturbing. The artist captured Diddy's expression perfectly, the bulging eyes, the clenched jaw veins showing in his neck. One sketch. Artist said she'd never drawn anyone looking so intense in her 12 years covering trials. The prosecutors weren't missing any of this. The lead prosecutor made this subtle hand signal to her assistant, who immediately got up and slipped out the side. Door later, we found out she was telling their team to prepare a specific witness earlier than planned. Someone who could speak directly to things Bieber had mentioned in his post the security guards in the room had this silent conversation with. Just their eyes, two of them shifted positions, moving closer to Diddy's table. Without making it obvious, one guard actually unclipped something on his belt. Not drawing a weapon, but making sure he could access it quickly if needed. Diddy's whole vibe changed completely. All through the first day and early that morning, he'd been Mr. Cool, sitting up straight, occasionally taking notes, nodding confidently. Now he looked like a completely different person. He kept fidgeting, running his hand over, his face loosening his tie like it was choking him. Then came the moment that made everything worse.
Weeks after the initial filing, Busby submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly